everyone, welcome back to our Math 8 YouTube channel. Kung di ka pa nakapag-subscribe, mag-subscribe na para updated ka sa ating weekly lesson. And for today's video, we're going to discuss our lesson number 4 for week number 4 in the fourth quarter, which is all about parallelism and perpendicularity. Are you ready to learn? Right, let's go! For our introductional activity, so kindly get your paper and ball pen. You're just going to identify the object or the picture. Okay, so let us have our first picture. That is our first picture. Okay, what do you think is that picture? 5 seconds. Okay, time's up. The answer, check your own answer. That is a pad paper or a paper or intermediate paper. So if you got it correctly, you can check your answer. Next, picture number 2. So the line, no? The white lines, what is that? What do you call to that line in the road or street? You have 5 seconds. Okay, time's up. The correct answer, that is a pedestrian lane. So dyan dumadaan na kapag tatawid ng kalsada. Next picture. Okay, that's one. You have 5 seconds. Time's up. The correct answer is electrical post, or it can be electrical wirings, no? Since obvious naman yung mga wire natin. Okay? The last picture. 5 seconds. Okay, time's up. The correct answer, crucifix or a cross. So kindly total your score for this introductional task. 4 points all in all. Okay, so based on the pictures that you saw, no, we see parallel and perpendicular lines everywhere. Lines on a pad paper, on a pedestrian lane, on a fence, on the electrical post or electrical wirings. Those lines suggest parallel lines, while the electrical post with the wire, no, the window pane and the crucifix are just few examples of perpendicular lines. And we already defined the parallel lines and perpendicular lines in our previous lesson, but let us have a recall. So parallel lines are set of lines that are at the same distance with each other and never intersect. So these are coplanar lines that do not intersect. Those are parallel lines. Now, how are we going to identify that two lines are parallel? So we have different conditions. The first condition, two lines are parallel if, letter A, they are coplanar and do not intersect. So anong ibig sabihin nun? So ang dalawang linya raw ay parallel kapag sila ay nasa iisang plane. Yun ang meaning ng coplanar. At hindi sila nag-i-intersect. Yan. So take a look at the given figure. We have line MA and we have line HT. So the quadrilateral formed by the plane math, no, MATH, so that is a quadrilateral or a plane. Segment MA or line MA lies on plane MATH, and segment HT or line HT lies also on plane MATH. So nasa iisang plane si MA tsaka si HT. Therefore, we can say that MA is coplanar with HT. And since they do not intersect, we can say that MA is parallel to HT. So our symbol for parallel, yung dalawang linya na nakatayo na magkatapat na. Next, we have different pairs of angles that was formed when parallel lines cut by a transversal, and we already discussed those pairs of angles in our lesson for week number 3. But let us have a recall. So two lines are parallel if parallel lines cut by a transversal line form the following. We have corresponding angles. We have alternate interior angles. We have alternate exterior angles. And we have interior angles on the same side of transversal. So, ano-ano ba yung relationship ng bawat pairs of angles? So, sa corresponding angles, they are congruent. Meaning, parehas lang sila ng measure. No? Sa alternate interior angles, parehas din. They are also congruent. Alternate exterior angles are also congruent. While sa same side interior or same side exterior, the angles are supplementary. Meaning to say, if you add the two same side, it must be equal to 180 degrees. So, yun ang difference na, no? And pwede nyo balikan yung ating video for week number 3 ng 4th quarter. Nandun yung mga theorems and postulate about these parallel lines cut by a transversal. Okay, another characteristics of two lines are parallel if two coplanar lines are perpendicular to the same line, then they are parallel, no? So meaning to say, kapag yung isang line, no, perpendicular sa kanyang transversal at yung isa ring line ay perpendicular sa kanyang transversal, so ano lang ibig sabihin nun? Yung dalawang lines ay parallel kasi parehas silang perpendicular. Remember, pag perpendicular, ang measure ng angle ay 90 degrees. Kaya meron tayo ritong symbol na small box. It means perpendicular. Okay? Ayan. Another characteristics, two lines are parallel if. So, if two lines are parallel to another third line, then they are parallel to each other. So, kapag yung dalawang line, okay, observe the figure, we have line L, line M, and line N. So, si line L ay parallel kay line M. Si line M ay parallel kay line N. Therefore, line L is parallel to line M and parallel to line N. They are parallel to each other. So, ganun lang yan. Basic concept. Now, let's talk about perpendicular lines. Na? Remember, pag perpendicular, it always form a right angle or ang magiging measure ng angle na nabuo ay 90 degrees. So, perpendicular lines are set of lines that intersect to form right angles. So, these are the characteristics or conditions on how we are going to identify that the two lines are perpendicular. So, letter A, two lines form 4 right angles. So, kapag ang dalawang lines nag-intersect, ilang right angles ang mabubuo niya? So, obviously, 4, no? Ayan. So, 90 degrees, 90, sa baba 90, and another 90 degrees. Next, two lines are perpendicular if two intersecting lines form a linear pair of congruent angles. So, kapag yung dalawang lines nag-intersect, yung nasa taas na yan na angle, na magpo-form siya ng linear pair. Ngayon, kung yung isang angle ng linear pair ay congruent sa another angle ng linear pair, ibig sabihin, that is perpendicular. Why? Kasi if two angles form a linear pair, then they are supplementary. Ibig sabihin, ang measure ng dalawa ay 180 degrees, na? So, kung 180 degrees yan, at dahil congruent yung bawat isa, so 180 divided by 2, that is 90. Kaya, automatic, 90, and then 90 yung another linear pair, na? Next, two lines are perpendicular if, so if a transversal is perpendicular to the first line, then it is also perpendicular to the second line, parallel to the first line. So, katulad itong figure, line T, perpendicular siya sa transversal line M. Si line S naman, perpendicular din sa transversal line M. So, kung si line S ay perpendicular at si line T ay perpendicular, ibig sabihin yung dalawang line na yon ay parallel, na, to each other. and they are perpendicular to the transversal line. Yan. Okay, now, since you already know the concept about parallel lines and the concept about perpendicular lines, so let us try to find the value of an angle, no? Finding the value of x given the parallel lines, transversal, and perpendicular lines. So let us have this example, number 1. So find the value of x so that the two lines are parallel. So given, take a look at the figure, no? Lagyan natin ng highlights yung highlight. Okay. So we have here the figure x plus 86 degrees and 24 plus 2x degrees. So how are we going to find the values of x? So since we have here two lines that are parallel, so this line is parallel to this line and it was cut by a transversal line, no? So first, identify natin what type or what pairs of angles ba yung given. Itong angle na to at itong angle na to. So anong klaseng pairs of angle ba siya? Okay, so that is an alternate exterior angle. Alternate exterior. So anong relationship ni alternate exterior angle? So according sa theorem, alternate exterior angles are congruent, na? So if they are congruent, ibig sabihin yung x plus 86 ay equal kay 24 plus 2x, na? Okay, so since yung 24 plus 2x ay equal kay x plus 86, meron na tayong equation. Okay? So, since we are going to solve for the value of x, kailangan natin ng equation at base sa ating pairs of angles na alternate exterior angle, nagkaroon tayo ng relationship doon sa dalawa. They are congruent and according sa ating definition of congruent, they are equal. So, we already have now the equation. Then, we are now ready to solve for the value of x. So, paano? Pagsamahin lahat ng x, pagsamahin lahat ng constant. So, since itong x na to ay nasa left side, itatranspose natin to papunta kay 2x. At since ito namang 24 ay nasa left side, itatranspose naman natin to kay 86. Tandaan, pag nagtatranspose, nag-change ng sign. So, tingnan nyo ang mangyayari. Ayan. So, naging na siyang 2x minus x equals 86. Yung 24 naging minus 24. And then, just solve. So, 2x, binawasan ng isang x na lang. 86, binawasan ng 24, 62. So, x is equal to 62. That is our answer. Next, example number 2. Find the value of x so that the lines are parallel. So, we have here the small box. Ibig sabihin yan, ang measure nito ay 90. And we have here another angle, 11x minus 9. Okay? So, to find the value of x, remember, if a transversal is perpendicular to the first line, then it is also perpendicular to the second line. So, ibig sabihin, if this is 90, na, at itong line na to ay perpendicular do sa transversal, so, ibig sabihin, yung kaparallel niya is also perpendicular. So, ibig sabihin, ang total nito is also 90. So, yung 11x minus 9 is equal to 90. Okay? So, based from that, meron na tayong equation that 11x minus 9 is equal to 90. So, yun lang naman ang hinahanap natin, equation. Bakit? Kasi pag may equation na, pwede na tayong maghanap ng value ni x. So, let us solve. Pagsamahin lahat ng x, pagsamahin lahat ng constant. So, in this case, dahil wala namang kasama si 11x, wala nang ibang variable x. So, at is na lang sa 11x, ang kailangan na lang natin is i-transpose sa negative 9 papunta kay 90. So, magiging siyang 11x is equal to 90 plus 9. Then, 11x is equal to 99. So, para makuha ang value ng x, kailangan matanggal sa 11. So, we divide both side by 11. So, x is equal to 9. And that's it. We have now the value of x. 9 is the answer. Alright, so we are done with the examples on how to solve the value of x. Now let us have the words of the day. So in our lesson and discussion, you encounter the word coplanar. So what do you mean by coplanar? It means lying on the same plane. Another is you encounter the word congruent angles, which means angles with the same measurement. The supplementary angles means that the sum of two angles is equal to 180 degrees. And the linear means that the sum of the angles is 180 degrees and form a straight line. So those are the words of the day. Alright, so let us now your learning task number 1. Okay, so given the figure, direction, use the figure at the right. Given CE, so this is CE, parallel to AB. Find the measurement of the following angles. Number 1, measure of angle ACD. So this is measure of angle ACD. So anong measure niyan? That is item number 1. Number 2, measure of angle CAB. CAB. So ito naman si CAB. That is item number 2. Number 3, the measure of angle CDB. CDB. So this is angle CDB. And number 4, the measure of angle EDB. EDB. So this is angle EDB. And finally, number 5, the measure of angle CDE. So this is angle CDE. Yan. Pinagsama yung dalawa. Itong malaki na to, linear pair. Okay? So you have 2 minutes to answer. Timer starts now. Okay, time's up. Now, let us check your answer for learning task number 1. Okay, the answer for item number 1, the measure of angle ACD is equal to 90 degrees. Check your own. Number 2, the measure of angle CAB is also 90 degrees. Number 3, the measure of angle CDB is 126 degrees. Number 4, the measure of angle EDB is equal to 54 degrees. And number 5, the measure of angle CDE is 180 degrees. So, all in all, we have 5 points for learning task number 1. Next, learning task number 2. Direction. Solve for x and name the given pair of angles. So, hanapin ang value ni x, kung anong value niya, and then identify nyo anong klaseng pairs of angles yan base doon sa ating parallel lines and transversal. So, ano-ano ba yung choices natin sa pairs of angles? So, ito, pwede nyo isulat, no, para ma-recall nyo. It can be corresponding angles. Ayan. Pwede rin namang alternate exterior angle. Pwede rin namang alternate interior angles. O kaya same side interior angles. Or same side exterior angles. So, those are the choices on the pairs of angles. Okay? So, bali 2 points yan. Isang check dun sa ating value ng x at isang check dun sa pair of angles. Okay? So, we have items 1, 2, 3. For 2 minutes, timer starts now. Alright, time's up. The correct answer for our learning task number 2. Hindi na yan for, ayan, okay. So, the correct answer, number 1, the value of x is 98 degrees. And that is a corresponding angles. Number 2, the value of x is 65 degrees. And that is alternate interior angles. Number 3, the value of x is 61 degrees, and that is same side interior angles. So, kindly total the score for learning task number 2. All in all, that is 6 points. Alright, now let us have your learning task number 3. Direction. Given the diagram shown at the right, assume all lines are straight. Find the measures of all the numbers angles 1 to 12. So, we have here the figure. Medyo complicated, pero pag nakuha nyo ang measure ng bawat isa and identify nyo yung mga pairs of angles that are congruent, madali na. So, we have here 1 to 12, but given number 6, measure of angle 6, ito daw angle 6, ang measure daw niya ay 130. Okay? And then, measure ni angle 8, ayan, syempre, dahil vertical yan, that is also 130. Ayan. So, find the measure of angle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. You have 2 minutes to answer. Timer starts now. Okay, time's up. Ayan, nakuha nyo ba yung mga pairs of angles na congruent? So, pag nakuha nyo yun, mas madali nyo masasagutan yung ating task. Yung mga linear pair, corresponding angles. So, now, let us check your answer. Okay, so this is the correct answer. For number 1, the measure of angle 1 is 75 degrees. Number 2, the measure of angle 2 is 55 degrees. Number 3, the measure of angle 3 is 50 degrees. The measure of angle 4 is 75 degrees. The measure of angle 5 is 55 degrees. The measure of angle 7 is 50 degrees. The measure of angle 9 is 50 degrees. The measure of angle 10 is 105 degrees. The measure of angle 11, 75 degrees. And the measure of angle 12 is 105 degrees. Total of 10 points, all in all. Diba? Madali lang ang ating learning task. Okay, now for our assimilation, the final part of your task. So, just answer it correctly. Consider the given figures. Answer the following question. Number 1. What is common in the 4 figures? Ano ba yung common dito sa figure 1, figure 2, figure 3, and figure 4? So, ano napapansin nyo doon sa mga lines na yan? Pare-pare silang start with letter I. Okay? Write your answer. Next, number 2. What makes the figures 3 and 4 different from figures 1 and 2? Tingnan nyo yung figure 3 and 4. Meron siyang small box dito. So, yan yung difference niya. Anong tawag dyan kapag may small box ang na-form ng dalawang lines na nag-intersect? Write your answer. Right. Next, number 3. Which among the 4 figures show perpendicularity? Alin dito sa figure 1, 2, 3, and 4 ang nagpapakita ng perpendicular? Remember, pag perpendicular, ang measure ay 90 degrees. Kahit di ka gumamit ng protractor, kita mo naman doon sa symbol. Write your answer, number 3. And finally, number 4. When are lines said to be perpendicular to each other? Kailan sinasabi na ang dalawang linya ay perpendicular sa bawat isa? Kapag ang measure is equal to what? Write your answer. Okay. Now, let us check your work for assimilation. Alright. So, for number 1, the answer is the common to these 4 figures, they are all intersecting lines. Ayan. Kung ito ang sagot nyo, tama yan. Next, what makes figure 3 and 4 different from figure 1 and 2? They are different because they are perpendicular lines. Next, which among the 4 figures show perpendicularity? So, sinabi ko na kanina, lines 3 and 4. And finally, when are lines said to be perpendicular? So, if they form 4 right angles or if the measure of each angle is equal to 90 degrees, pwede rin yan. So, all in all, 1, 2, 3, you have here another 4 points. Alright, so that is the end of our week 4, lesson number 4, which is all about parallelism and perpendicularity. I hope you learned a lot. So, before I end this video, I would like to thank Ma'am Jenilyn Abelio for the PowerPoint presentation. Napakaganda ng PowerPoint presentation na na-share niya sa atin para sa week number 4. So that's all, everyone. Thank you very much. God bless and happy learnings.